couple of days ago I did a video almost as soon as I'd updated my Quad Cortex to 1.3.0. I did a little demo on acoustic guitar using one of my presets that I've set up previously, but adding the loop function, because normally I'd been using an external loop pedal, and the freeze function as well. They were the two features that I'd been eagerly anticipating and waiting for. But now I've had a bit more of a chance to look at it and go through some of the electric guitar features. And I've set up this preset, so I thought, as I've been fiddling around with it, I might as well video myself fiddling around with it and demo some of the sounds, because they're pretty good actually. And I've got the looper and the freeze set up on here as well. I've worked something out here that I'm going to play. You might recognise it slightly. It's a bit like something else, but I'm intentionally doing it slightly wrong, because YouTube is extremely clever. It can pick up when you're kind of playing something near a tune. I've done a couple of videos recently where I did Power of Love by Huey Lewis. I didn't sing it or anything. I did a backing track and I played the tune over it, and I'm glad I must have got the tune right, because it detected that it was that tune. I also did a Jeff Beck tune which got detected, and I did a Glenn Campbell tune. So I've done backing tracks and just played the melody on the guitar over it, and it picks it up as being the song. So I'm avoiding that for two reasons. I want to work out how clever the algorithm is at picking these things up, but also I want to avoid a copyright strike. So you might recognise this slightly. The other thing I'm doing, I'm using the looper, and I got a comment on my last video from someone called Classic Disaster, pointing out that I could have used the kind of auto start function, where you arm the looper and then it doesn't start until you start playing, which when you're using a hand like I am is perfect. Normally I'd use my foot, which is what I had it set up for before, but that was a very good point, so thank you for pointing that one out. Right, here we go. See if you recognise this, or what it's meant to sort of be. That wasn't what I meant it to do. Let's try this. Now the two sounds which, the two new amps which I like, which I'd kind of been hoping for because there didn't seem to be anything along these lines when it originally shipped, were the Princeton and the the Tweed Bassman. There weren't any Tweed amps previously, so you couldn't get any of that nice Tweedy driven sound necessarily out of the amp models. So I quite like these amp models. I have to say, when I've used the Quad Cortex Live, I've used my own captures of my own amp. And I don't know whether that's just because I'm used to the sound or just whether I think they're better sounds. But anyway, these are pretty good. So what I'm going to do is show you the sounds of the amps first. Now, what I like, the other new thing I like on here is the fact that you can double click to bypass when you're in stomp mode, which I don't think you could do before. I'm fairly certain you couldn't do before, because I remember trying and thinking that's annoying. You had to go into each thing and somehow turn it off or assign it to a pedal. But now you can just do it that way. So this is the Princeton. And what I like to do on here, particularly when I'm monitoring on headphones, is I like to put on some spring reverb, because that's what I'd have on the amp, particularly the Princeton reverb. But I also like to put a room or ambience reverb on, because it just makes it sound not right in your ears. It gives it, it's more like you've got an amp sat next to you. So I think this is a fair way to try it. It certainly makes it sound nicer in my headphones, and hopefully translates onto the video. So this is the Princeton. Set it pretty much flat, and it cleans up. So it's not mega high output, this guitar. This is the Danny Gatton Telecaster with the Joe Barden pickups. So you get a bit of breakup, but if you back it off, cleans up nicely. So the way I've going to set this, and I'll show you why in a minute, but I'm going to back it off a little bit, increase the output, so it's pretty clean. Tiny little bit of breakup. So I think it's a nice sound. Then the other new one, so let's turn that one off, and I've put the matching cab, the new IR that's shipped with it. It's the one that matches that amp. So then the Bassman, let's turn that on and turn the cab on. Now there's four different ones. You've got the bright input, the normal input, and then you've got it jumpered or not jumpered. So I've gone for the normal jumpered input, so that's effectively jumping across the two normal inputs, I think. Anyway, this is higher, you get more drive out of this. So here we go. I'll tell you what that is in a minute. So let's go into this. So if I set it at pretty flat, it still breaks up a bit, as you'd expect a Tweed amp to do. You can back it off again. But what I decided to do with this, I was tend to boost the treble a bit on these. That's what I do on my amps, and then so I'm going to have this running a little bit hotter. So what I like to do when I've got these amps is run one a bit cleaner and one driven like that. So I've got both amps running together. So this is what they sound like together. So instead of using pedals to drive it, I've put this in. That's a gain block to turn the gain completely off. So it's a little bit confusing because when it's on, it's off. Is that right? Yes. So basically, if I've got it switched on, then I'm taking the Bassman out of the equation. So for example, so yeah, I'm using that's just the Princeton. And I want some drive, it's kicking the Bassman. go, there's the amps. Right, I'm going to turn the Bassman off and then show you some of the new device. I'm not going to go through all of them. This is the model of the, I believe, the Chief Boss, clever, Chorus. There's 3 different types here. I think that's the default one. Which I think is the nice, that's my favourite actually. This one's a bit more subtle, the vintage, V I guess is vintage. Actually no, it's not more subtle, that's not what, perhaps it's the other one that's more subtle. And then this final one. Sorry, that's the more subtle one, the C. CE2C. I'm just showing the defaults on here rather than going through the, let me put that back, rather than changing all the settings. I'll go through some of the settings on the other ones. So let's turn that one off. This next one, this is this Dream Chorus. This one is more subtle. Let's turn the depth right up. You can really hear the detuning if you do that. There's 2 different ones on here too. It's quite a nice warm chorus. And then this one, which seems to do everything, the Chorus engine. Now this one you can change all kinds of things on here. This voice mode seems to do rather a lot. Hopefully you can hear that when I've got it. It's going into the computer, so you should be able to hear it. This is only in mono, but it's really gives you even on the mono signal, it kind of broadens it out. You've got lots of options with your tone and stuff. Actually, this drive was quite interesting. So if I turn the drive off, and adding it in. So then let's move on to the flanger. Now this flanger is similar to the Chorus engine. It's got loads of stuff on it. Oh, let me turn that off. It's got loads of stuff on it. You can alter the waveform. So that's a sine wave, triangle, square, ooh, saw up, saw down, and this one you can't read, so if you're watching this, anyone from Neural DSP, there's a little fault here, so that might have to be in 1.3.2. I'm not sure what that's supposed to say. Looks like mushroom. And then finally RND step. So this kind of does it. You've got everything on here. You've got all these different settings. This drive thing's where's the drive? The drive type. Just stick the drive up. You can change that to off and kick into hard. But like with everything, I always prefer something you just plug in. You don't really have to do anything and it sounds good. So you can probably fiddle around for hours with all these settings, and then once you fiddle around for hours, you might make it sound as nice as the MX Flanger does when you just turn it on. That's my kind of pedal. Bit of Iron Maiden first album there. There we go. That's all the well, that's some of the new pedals. There's a couple more choruses and a few other bits, but they were the ones that I sort of picked out and thought was interested in. I've also, on this preset, I've added the freeze and the looper. The other thing I've done on this preset is I've decided that the freeze function works really well with the expression pedal. So the expression pedal is altering this parameter here, the on-off parameter. So it means you can do this, pedal down. Like it. So hopefully I've shown you a few of these new features. I think they're pretty cool. I think it's a good update. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to make this preset available if you want to try it. So it's 1_3_0 new devices, and that's TJ Walker in the Cortex Cloud. See you in the next video.